Okay, match 3 with Mono Blue Delver. We have Fairy Miscreant into Spellstutter Sprite. Interaction with the Snag, card draw with Ponder or Gush. I think this is very keepable. It's always a little sad when you don't have a Delver of Secrets, but you can't have that in every opening hand, unfortunately. If you could, the deck would be busted, more so than it already is. Urza's Tower, okay. Delver of Secrets. Well, I would love to leave open Spellstutter Sprite to counter a Prophetic Prism here. And I would also love to play Delver of Secrets. I think it's okay for us if we set up the Delver first, so I'm going to do that. Ponder. Now my big question is, am I willing to draw these cards just to flip the Delver? I draw an island, I reveal Ponder next turn, and I get to go Island, leave open Spellstutter Sprite and Snag, or Ponder and Spellstutter Sprite. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Alright, let's see if our opponent does play that Prophetic Prism. The reason I didn't leave that up is because it's so good to get the Delver online and starting to attack, and they might just have another Prophetic Prism anyway. And they didn't have anything, so we are rewarded for getting our Delver down. Reveal the Ponder. And now we Ponder, look for some more hard counter magic or maybe a Spellstutter Sprite. So I think this hand, these cards is just barely good enough. I would really like to find Force Spike and Counterspell, but the way this is going to line up is I get to attack and then either counter something with Sprite or just play it on their end step, untap and ninjutsu in the ninja, picking up the Sprite and reusing it yet again. And being able to counter their small artifacts to keep them off of colored mana is very good. Of course, if they just go turn 3 Urza's Mine, which they might do since they didn't do anything on turn 1 or turn 2 and kept their hand, then obviously Spellstutter gets worse because they can resolve a bunch of things at once. And we'd rather have like a counterspell maybe, but yeah, I think this is good enough. But I am not going to ninjutsu this turn. I could pick up the Fairy Miscreant, but I would rather have the Spellstutter Sprite available. Alright, Slippery Karst. I did not know that Tron decks played this. I know I played the white and the blue cycle lands in Rhystic Tron, but I did not know that Temur Tron played this one. I'm assuming this is Temur Tron, but it might be a different version. Alright, there's a map. We're going to counter that, as we do not need them finding their third Tron piece. If they already have the mine in hand and they get to play it and then resolve, you know, a prism or something instead, then we'll feel silly, but there's no way for us to know that. Alright, there's the mine. Can they follow up with a prism? Okay, they can't. So there's two main ways our opponent can get colored mana at this point. It's by playing a Chromatic Sphere or Star or Prophetic Prism, or by playing an Unknown Shores / Shimmering Grotto, whichever one of the lands. And obviously we can't counter their land drop. And if they go Shimmering Grotto into Mulldrifter, then it's pretty annoying for us. Fangren Marauder could also be annoying. But the fact that all the non-land sources of colored mana they could find can be countered by Spellstutter mean I am going to pick up this again and put the ninja into play. And I'm going to draw Spire Golem, I know from the Ponder. So I could tap out to play it, which would be better if our opponent does have a Shimmering Grotto or Unknown Shores, I think, but I would rather leave open Spellstutter Sprite in most situations. Alright, they just also have a basic force. That's another option. Alright, there's a Fangren. But it's not going to work out great for them because we have a Vapor Snag. And Delver of Secrets. So I'm going to try to find some more counter magic. I'm going to go Spire Golem, use up this mana, or be able to cast this while the islands are still on the battlefield. Gush by picking up those 2 tapped lands. And I find a Force Spike, okay. Not very good against Tron, but it's something more than just a Spellstutter. Draw a card, a ninja. Alright, so I can play a Delver or I can hold open Force Spike and Spell Stutter. I don't think our opponent can wipe the board. Let's play Delver. Force Spike probably won't matter. The Delver probably won't matter either, but we'll just do this. All right, there's a Fangren. And now we're going to get to Spell Stutter a star or sphere. We're going to map. And then that should be game unless they have another one to gain life with. All right, excellent. We outraced the Tron deck before they were able to gain life. Let's move on. So on the draw against Tron, I'm going to cut 2 Force Spikes and a Gush. And I'm going to bring in Nulls. I could also bring in Cursive Chains against Ulamog's Crusher, but I would like to kill them before they get that going. Alright, our opponent gets to be on the play. We get to resolve a turn 1 Delver, and then hopefully draw a land. I think this hand is good enough if we draw lands, and we also have a Ponder to help us find them, so I'm going to keep it. A Null is also good. Colony Garden makes an 0-1. So to hold open a Null or to play Delver, that is the question. I think time will always tell that you should always play Delver first. Just because if it blind flips, then you get in for 3 extra damage, which is always great. Ancient Surians finds a map, and they're able to resolve it. Island. I'm not very good at flipping Delver today, am I? See if our opponent wants to chump block. They do not. They're apparently not scared of a ninja. I will Ponder. Counterspell, Ponder. I don't really like these. I would rather draw creatures to put our opponent under pressure. Counterspells are not going to be able to go the distance. Alright. Land. We have open a Null this turn. Our opponent is going to have Tron online, unfortunately, because they found their second Tron piece, and they're going to get to crack the map starting next turn. Fierce Empath goes and finds Crusher. So this might actually be Mono Green Tron. I'm not sure whether it's Mono Green Tron or Mono Blue Tron that I've heard about in the past, but apparently it's a thing. I don't want to tap out to play Spire Golem here, so I think I'm just going to pass again. Mono Green Tron might not have to play the Prophetic Prisms. The multicolored versions do. They get to play things like Colony Garden instead, apparently, to protect against Chainer's Edict. But you lose the power of Rolling Thunder and Muldrifter if you do that, so that's probably why it's the less popular version. Alright, I think I'm going to Gush here and look for a Counterspell. This is really horrible at setting me back on mana, but it's also really horrible if this resolves, because then I have to find a Vapor Snag. Alright, nothing doing. I'll play this out anyway, just to have something to either chump block or sacrifice to the Crusher, but I think we are done this game. We need to find Vapor Snag for the Crusher and a Counterspell for it on its way back down, and then somehow get our opponent under enough pressure to beat them. There's a Force Spike. Yeah, this is just hilariously bad at this point. But we will persevere and see if our opponent shows us any more cards from their deck that might inform our sideboard decisions or our gameplay game 3. Fangren Marauder, gain some life. So it appears that the upside to this deck is you get to play Fierce Empath and have better mana, and potentially not play Prophetic Prisms. They're going up to 29 life here. Alright, interesting. I don't think our opponent's going to show us anything else, and I don't think we're going to draw anything. Alright. So, since this deck effectively gets to play 4 copies of Fangren with a Fierce Empath, I think I'm going to bring in one more Annul over a Spire Golem. And perhaps take out a Gush for a Curse of Chains against Ulamog's Crusher. Have a little bit more interaction and try to run this. We get to be on the play, which is obviously great. And we'll keep this. We have an Annul, which is nice. Although we're probably not holding it up turn 1 or turn 2 because we want to resolve Miscreant and then be able to start hitting with the Ninja. It is unfortunate. Annul is a good card, but we can't just hold up and counter magic forever and beat our opponent that way. We have to get some sort of clock going. Tower into Star. It's a little bit better for us than Tower into Map. Alright, start drawing some cards. Spellstutter Sprite. Oh, that's annoying. That's going to prevent us from being able to get in for a card next turn. But that's only 1 turn, so I think I can put up with that. I get to play Fairy Miscreant and leave open Annul plus Spellstutter, which is nice. But our opponent has a second Tron piece naturally, so they may be able to get there without the map. Fierce Empath is also bad for us here. It's another chump block for the Ninja, and we can't counter it with either of these spells right now. But luckily for us, they do not play it. I'm not going to play out Spellstutter for no value right now. I don't think that's correct. Delver. Moment's Peace. Well, that's certainly an interesting sideboard card. I could Spellstutter that. Do I even want to, though? It lets me draw a card and deal 3 damage. But it also means they get to resolve something on their turn that might be more important, like a map. I think I have to let this resolve. I can think about countering it when they flash it back. This is certainly a good sideboard card against, like, Is It Blitz? But I did not suspect that they would have this in their sideboard for us. I did not think about it. Play the Delver, leave open 2 counter spells again. And they just naturally hit Tron with no map. So us leaving open the Annul and the Sprite was for almost no reason. I think I will counter this with Sprite, since it puts something onto the battlefield at the same time. And Sprite's not likely to be able to hit anything else. Annul isn't either. They'll probably hit the exact same things, but I'd rather be able to start attacking with this. It does give them free reign for Moment's Peace, though, unless we draw something. Alright, we would have ended up using them both in some order anyway, so that's not too bad. Alright, they're cracking a Star before they play a Fangren, which is great for us, because they do have mana for a Fangren. Alright, and because they have Tron online, they can flashback Moment's Peace this turn. Not going to reveal an island. Hopefully they just forget they have Moment's Peace. I don't think they're going to do that, though. Alright, damage is prevented. I get to play out my stuff and hope they don't have anything at all. Fangren plus gain 5 life would be very annoying and could also block my Ninja. Ulamog's Crusher would be able to block my Ninja. Oh no, Artifact to follow up, so that's not that bad. Come on, Vapor Snag? Perfect. Called it. Alright, so I'm going to Vapor Snag now so that I can draw a card with my Ninja. Hopefully counterspell. An island. Alright, well, I'll hold that in hand. Our opponent needs to replay Fangren and gain 5 life here to be able to survive, because we have 7, 8, 9 damage in the air. Alright, there's the Fangren. They didn't have an artifact last turn. Okay, this should be it. They have no green mana available for Moment's Peace. I don't think there's anything they can do here. There's no instant speed, colorless Manamorphose that I know of. So Let's see what happens. Attack with our flyers. All right, excellent. We took down Mono Green Tron. And they decided to reveal their hand to us to show us that they had forests and a power plant. It was very nice of them. So I think I may have heard about this once or twice, but I've never seen it in action, so it's kind of cool to see it now. If this is something that interests you, you can go check it out. All right, 2-1, and we are on to match 4.